I stand right now currently is I'm smelling the fresh green grass of training camp football. And there are a ton of storylines as the team looks to repeat. And my question to you is, what storylines intrigue you or worry you the most? Now, I am very confident when it comes to how great this squad is going to be for this upcoming season. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'd say the second best, and maybe even the first best if I'm feeling great that day. But you have Jalen Hurts. You have a great offensive line. You got a great GM. You got a great head coach. You got an awesome defensive coordinator. You have Jalen Carter. So I do, from a big picture standpoint, feel phenomenal about the campaign that we are about to embrace. But I do have some questions, and I do need to see them iron out a couple of key details. And this is where I stand. I need to know how replacing Darius Slay is going to go. That's my biggest worry with these training camp storylines, is what will transpire without Darius Slay. We heard from Vic Fangio. We see that Quinyon Mitchell is definitely potentially getting an expanded role and dancing around in the secondary on each side now. Maybe that's a way to fill that void. But of course, as we currently stand, it looks as if Ringo and Adoree Jackson are battling it out. And on day one of camp, Ringo had a rough day at the office, getting beat by A.J. Brown, which a lot of people do. So I'm not going to crush the man for stepping into training camp and getting beat by one of the best throwers of the football, Jalen Hurts. You heard that. And A.J. Brown. When Terrace Marshall is going up and making some plays happen, you start to wonder, okay. So we need to see exactly how that specific spot is going to get filled, because truth be told, I think there were a lot of Eagles fans that took Darius Slay for granted. Yes, he was getting up there in age. Yes, there were some lingering issues throughout that made him miss a series here, miss a quarter there, and you had Isaiah Rodgers step in. But the disrespect of Darius Slay went on for so long that you really didn't understand the value that he brought when he was healthy, when he was available. You're getting to Super Bowls. Darius Slay is there for a reason. He's a big part of that. 215-592-9494. What storyline worries you? What storyline intrigues you the most as we watch this team take the practice field and we get excited every single day to see what's going to hit us next? It's a weird cycle of training camp. You start out with the goosebumps, and in about 6 or 7 days, we're banging on the table screaming for day one. So here, I want you guys to listen to a couple pieces of audio. First, I want you to take a listen to Ringo himself. And this is him learning, without much playing time, how he's attacking this as a DB. Take a listen.
Man, just seeing schemes, things like that, man, just diving into the playbook, learning other positions that aren't even mine so that I know where my help is, things like that. Little things like that could definitely help you play faster and just be able to play more calm out there, when you're really relaxed, you understand your job, your position, you understand what the guy next to you is doing as well. You can be able to play faster for sure.
So it can't be easy to be where he is on the sidelines and doing what he's doing in practice every day, not getting the in-game reps. But mentally, you still have to prepare. Mentally, you still have to absorb all the information. And he's saying all the right things there on sort of the way you go about your business when you're not necessarily CB1, right? When you're not CB2. It's hard to develop. It's hard to continue at your craft. But you got to find ways to do it. I played that clip because I think it's important to note that he clearly has a good head on his shoulders throughout this process, and not everybody handles it cleanly. Not everybody handles it easily. It's a very difficult task. So you have that. Now I want you to listen to Christian Parker, who everybody in the NFL world looks at as the new shiny coaching toy, if you will. You know, the DB's coach for the Eagles. He's starting to get some pop. He's starting to get some flair. Well, Elliott Shore-Parks interviewed him prior to the Super Bowl last season about the DB room. And take a listen here to his answer on who intrigues him.
Who's maybe a young corner or safety on the roster that fans aren't talking about now, but you get to see him all the time, that you're really excited about, you think has a bright future?
I love our room, but I think two guys who really stand out consistently on the scout team and on the day-to-day have been Keely Ringo and Andre Sam. I think both of them have really bright futures. Both of them are extremely gifted from an athletic perspective. I think they've both grown in their knowledge of the game, and I'm excited to kind of see what steps they're going to take. I think their teammates trust them. They give those guys on scout team. They really take pride in what they do on the scout team.
Okay, so the first name that came out of his mouth was Ringo. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I'm overcomplicating this. And it's simple. Ringo's going to slide in, and he's going to be excellent. And then when you have Jalen Carter taking strides and dominating up front, with Jordan Davis, also known as Peloton Davis, just becoming more of a threat in the backfield with some pass rush ability, with Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell, maybe we don't need some absolutely ridiculous CB2 that's going to lock people up and put them in jail consistently. Maybe we just need good enough. Because you can have Quinyon travel differently around the secondary this year and flip sides depending on who the other wide receiver is that you want to match him up against. Maybe I don't need to have the splashiest weapon in the world opposite of Quinyon Mitchell because you can be dominant in so many other ways. My fear is, as a very confident Eagles fan that thinks they are going to have a sensational season next year, but there are some questions with this roster, is the other team's quarterback, the second the ball is snapped, knows exactly what direction to look at, knows exactly who to target. And if you target Ringo over and over again and Adoree Jackson or any of those level of names, unfortunately, they can get picked on and picked on badly enough. That's one thing I can't have happen. So that's where I need them to shore up my confidence a bit, is right there. And am I overreacting to day one of training camp when Ringo gets torched a couple of times? Maybe. But this is all I have to go off of. And I wish it was the alternative, which is, hey, Ringo had some pass breakups, and Ringo was out there, and he was able to stop A.J. Brown, and, hey, Marshall tried to beat him, and he stayed with them stride for stride, and he was able to get his hands on the football and knock it out of bounds. And guess what? If we got that, I'd be sitting here today going, this is amazing. We got Ringo stepping in for Darius Slay, and look at he's been able to get after it his first training camp with a golden opportunity to snag some real playing time after getting a taste of the NFL and then having to sit at the back of the line for a little bit. So I would have kept that same energy if it was the other way, but unfortunately, day one wasn't so promising. And then Adoree Jackson gets thrown in, and now we got to see these two go toe-to-toe consistently until somebody outperforms the other. There's not many holes on this roster at all. But this is one that I got to figure out how they're going to do this. And again, it could be as simple as there's a lot to work with surrounding the loss of Darius Slay, that Cooper DeJean. I mean, who knows? Maybe Cooper DeJean is an answer. He plays in the slot. He can play safety. Vic Fangio's going to want to try and get Cooper DeJean on the football field as much as humanly possible because he makes a significant impact. Maybe I just found the answer as I talk out loud. It's interesting. 215-592-9494. So that's where my head goes. That's where my brain goes when I think about the storylines that intrigue me or worry me the most thinking about this training camp. And there's not a lot of worries for me. But I valued Darius Slay. I valued the leadership in the locker room and even the play on the field. He still had a lot in the tank and gave it all for us. And he was a key contributor to all the sustained success that we had when he was signed here in Philadelphia. He bothered people. He made comments on his podcast. Not everybody loved his personality, even though I like someone keeping it loose and kind of having that type of, like, let's enjoy what we're doing here, fellas, kind of thing. But also, hey, we got business to take care of. That's no longer here, though. And will a young 20-something-year-old Ringo be able to fill those shoes? I want to bring in Jack Miller, who's producing tonight's program. I want to get your thoughts, Jack, on the biggest storyline in training camp that either intrigues you a lot or worries you the most.
Definitely Kelly Ringo, just because of what everything is coming out about him, and that was one of the main worries I had before training camp, and the fact that he is getting dusted a little bit does worry me. To be fair, it is with A.J. Brown and arguably the two wide receiver ones, but still, it's like this is a problem that we had coming into training camp, and it's still a problem into the first 2 days. So it's a little bit of an overreaction, but still, it's worrisome. So that's what stands out to me the most out of all this training camp stuff. And it is just the defense in general, I would say, as a whole, because to be like Jalen is Jalen, but he's completed 93% of his passes. And according to Elliott, when listening to the afternoon show today, there's just no really pass breakups at all. It's just Jalen's completing passes. So I'm not sure what to make of that. And I feel like that there should be a lot more of a defensive presence. I know they're not even wearing pads or anything, but 93% is a little eye-opening for Jalen. So.
Yeah. All right, here's my counter to that. Jalen's that great, baby.
He is.
Jalen's that great, baby.
I'm a big Jalen guy, but 93% is kind of crazy, especially with the defense that we just had last year.
Yeah. No, listen, I think you nailed it, though, with what you said about not being in pad. Jalen Carter's not rushing the passer insanely. Whenever somebody gets a sack, there's air quotes around Jalix Hunt with a sack, So
right.
There's only so much you can do with your defense's presence. I completely, totally understand. But you're right. All jokes aside, 93% is outrageous. But there could be a world where Jalen is that dialed in and he is that focused on the goal that he's just annihilating Vic Fangio and everything they're trying to do so far in the early stages of camp. I'm a big let's put everything on the table guy, and then we'll start dissecting exactly what makes sense, what doesn't, what sounds foolish, what doesn't. All I'm saying is Jalen Hurts being elite is on the table.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is it's on the table. This guy is just going to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and outdoing Pat Mahomes. I can't act like him walking up to the line of scrimmage in training camp where most things are probably vanilla as hell through the first 2 days of training camp. He's probably 55 steps ahead of training camp day 1, day 2. He's probably on training camp day 326. So if he's out there understanding exactly what they're trying to do and boom, snap of the fingers executing, snap of the fingers executing, I can't rule that out. And I'm almost talking myself into that being the reason why it's at 93% more than anything else defensively. I feel good about my quarterback now, baby.
I did too. It's just it's just the 93% is just it's high. It's high, and I don't know when we bring up, I mean, I know it's 2 days of training camp, but still, it's like, I feel like if this continues to be a problem with the defense, when do we address it?
We monitor.
Yeah.
Oh, we monitor. Listen, we're monitoring it right now. We're talking about it 2 days in. So I think it's always available for a discussion. And I do expect it when the pads come on to have that more intense feeling, and the fire is going to be there for sure. But it's very fascinating to take a look at where we stand now. Vic Fangio on the defensive side, I'll tell you this much for free. If this does continue and it does get out of hand as we're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days into this thing, Vic Fangio is going to address it from his side. I mean, this guy is wired with a crazy competitive flair as well, just like all the other greats are. So I think he's going to have the answers eventually as this thing starts to play itself out. Or again, Jalen Hurts is that dominant that Jalen even counters Vic Fangio's smarts. 215-592-9494. We are going to open up the phone lines. If you do want to climb in, this is what I'm asking you tonight, because there are so many storylines with this football team as we prepare for them to get underway and they start to get sweaty at the NovaCare complex and they start putting in the work. And there are some super intriguing storylines. There are some that make you just have some questions on exactly how they're going to fill certain roles. What storyline intrigues you the most or worries you the most? That's where we get started. Let's go to the phones and go to Mike in Northeast Philly. You're on WIP. Yo, Mike. And Mike just completely fell off the second I called him on. What are we doing?
You really wanted to talk to you, too.
I wanted to talk to Mike. I wanted to get his thoughts. I wanted to see where he stands with this football team and this quarterback. Okay, I guess we don't have Mike right now. But here's one other element of this defensively that I really believe is going to create... How's the right way I want to describe this? I think there's so much in-your-face type of attitude from the way Bond plays, DeGene plays, and a lot of these other guys play. Their personality is so in your face, screw you, we're going to be, you know what to play against, that type of ordeal. That even if there is a weak spot, every defense has a weak spot. Every defense has maybe an okay player, and then there's just greatness surrounding. If I have that view and that perspective with CB2, then maybe there's still plenty of room to dominate, plenty of room to have a top spectacular defense. And then this is all for nothing because Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Bond and Campbell and Cooper and Q, they're all dominating at such a high clip, there's nowhere for the other team's offense to go. All right, let's go back to Mike, who just weighed back in. What's up, Mike?
What's up, Brodes?
How you feeling?
I'm good. It's my first time calling.
Cool. What's on your mind, Mike?
I feel like this year is A.J. Brown's year. I feel like there's no way that we're going to feed the ball to Saquon 2 years in a row the way we did last year. And A.J. Brown's just ready. He's been waiting. He's been patient. It's time for him to set some more records.
Okay, so I would not be surprised if A.J. Brown has a splashy year because I do think the regular season passing game is going to have a little bit more juice behind it based off of where they ranked last year. But I don't know if they're going to stop running the football aggressively. And maybe it's not Saquon. Maybe they work in A.J. Dillon and Shipley more to not give the workload to Saquon coming off of such an aggressive season. But I think you're right to view the passing game element and A.J. Brown and what he can do statistically as an intriguing story because, yeah, I'm with you. They definitely left meat on the bone last season in the passing game, especially throughout the regular season.
Yeah, I feel that, especially with all these, ESPN analysts and NFL analysts always talking about Jalen. That deep ball is beautiful. So all you have to do is put it up to AJ every once in a while, give a little dink and dunk across the middle to Smitty, and we're golden.
We are golden, Mike, and I appreciate the phone call. I don't know if you called me Buzz in the beginning. We do have a Buzz here. I don't think me and Buzz sound anything alike, but it's Brodes, unless I misheard him, and I apologize. But I appreciate the phone call, Mike. Would love to hear from you again. I agree with the deep ball stuff. Everyone talks about how he can't throw the football. Are you drunk? Seriously, I think that's a very fair question. This guy can throw a beautiful pass. This guy can throw a sensational ball. I think he's incredible at throwing the football. He throws dimes consistently. So this whole narrative that he can't do it. Now, does he drop back and throw it as many times as other quarterbacks? No. But that doesn't change the fact that when he does do it, it's where it needs to be. And he's sensational at it. Let's go to Eddie in Egg Harbor. How's it going, Eddie?
Good. How are you this evening?
Fantastic.
That's good. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that Jalen Hurts part of it, where I know he had said he's going to do whatever it takes to win the game by himself, if need be. But I think that he's got to use all the weapons that he has, and that is dishing it off to your wide receiver core, because you have some of the best wide receivers in the league, and to discount those guys is a travesty.
Well, when did he say he's going to win the game all by himself and not focus on his teammates? When did that ever said?
No, this morning he didn't say he was going to win it by himself. He said that he was going to do whatever it takes to win the game.
Yeah, but he said it. I think you're misconstruing it a little bit. He says, and I have the quote right here, I've been told that I got to do it a certain type of way, but when I do that, it doesn't get me the win. When I didn't, he said, when you put so much energy into your own personal performance, you lose the sight of the main thing, which is winning. So he's not focused on his own game. He's just focused on winning any way possible, which means
any way possible. And if that means him running,
no, that's not. You're. I think you're totally
misreading.
No, that's not what he's saying at all. He's saying he is because everyone knocks him for not having individual statistics. He's saying I'm not worried about my personal stats. I'm not worried about
at all.
Right. So I think he's saying exactly what you're saying, which is I'm going to use AJ. I'm going to use Saquon. I'm going to use the offensive line. I'm going to use the defense that we have when I'm not even on the field to my advantage. I'm going to do anything to win. I think that's more of his message.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the way I see it also. And I believe that he really should focus on, putting out all the tentacles within that team, because he does have a powerhouse of a team. I mean, they won the Super Bowl last year, and that was no joke. What an epic game that was. And I think that by him using all these weapons that he has, they could definitely get a repeat this year.
Sure, I think so too, Eddie, and I appreciate the call. Here's my knock on Eddie's approach. To me, he made it seem like Jalen Hurts has to use his teammates because his teammates are so great and he isn't. That's the vibe I got. I could be wrong. The vibe I got was he must use the excellence and the dominance around him because that's what got us to the Super Bowl, and we are so great because of them. We're so great because of him. I'm sick and tired of the nonsense around here. We are great because of Jalen Hurts. It starts with him. It starts with the quarterback. That's how football works. It begins with QB1. That doesn't diminish the greatness of AJ, but he wasn't talked about the same way in Tennessee. That doesn't disrespect Lane Johnson, who had success with other quarterbacks as well. There are plenty of other reasons why this team is great. They are ran very well from top to bottom. Most teams that win a Super Bowl are. It starts with the quarterback. That's why every team consistently tries to get a franchise quarterback, and they throw away every quarterback until they do. Jalen's dominant as hell. Jalen is disgustingly great. This may turn into a Jalen Hurts appreciation show. That wasn't planned. Might happen.
I know I'd love it.
I listen. It might be trending in that direction. I'm trying to talk storylines. We can talk about a ton of the Eagle storylines looking into their training camp right now. But if it so happens to continue this path, we'll see where it takes us. 215-592-9494. That's the phone number to hop on board. Coming up next, speaking of winning another Super Bowl, Lane Johnson spoke with the morning show about repeating as champions. You're not going to want to miss what he had to say, and we will continue taking your calls. It's Brodes, and it's you on 94 WIP. Let's go to Nick in South Philly. What's up, Nick?
Brodes, what's going on, brother?
Not much. How we feeling tonight?
Pretty good. And I mean, just like going off of what you said, like how can you not be confident about this team going into the season? I mean, they have so few holes. But I hear you on the cornerback, too. I mean, I'm in my late 20s, and I have the PTSD from the Nnamdi Asomugha days and the Byron Maxwell, and so I even say Leotis McKelvin. Like, there's so many bad quarterbacks that we've had in our history that that spot is obviously going to weigh on our minds going into the season. But one of the storylines that, people have talked so much about once the move happened, but haven't been talked about a lot since, is the hiring of Kevin Patullo and that new offensive coordinator. And you even said Brian Johnson's name right there. And I think the PTSD from the collapse in 2023 and what the offense looked like and the superstar Jalen Hurts, what he looked like. I'm a Jalen guy too. He's a superstar, but I remember what he looked like. And there are a lot of mouths to feed on that offense. So I think, that new offensive coordinator is definitely an interesting storyline going into the season.
Very fair. And my counter, not even counter, but just my response to that would be, so far throughout the Jalen Hurts experience, even dating back to college, this is all he ever knows is new coordinator, new terms, new this, new that. So
100%.
As uncomfortable as it may be, he is very comfortable with being uncomfortable with a new coordinator. And with that puts a lot of confidence in me because I know he's already been able to operate with so many other faces every year. It's so hard to do. That's something that, from a big picture Jalen Hurts criticism standpoint, it needs to be brought up that no quarterback survives with this level of greatness with new coordinators every single year the way he does.
100%. And, Brian Johnson was his guy, too. And I guess that may be a little bit of a fear of mine is that, hey, Kevin Patullo might be his guy and, maybe they're not going to have the same success as an experienced play caller like Kellen Moore once the game is ongoing and you don't have, as much time to, think on the fly and call a play. So just a concern of mine, but I hear you on that cornerback 2 spot. Definitely a concern, but, confident going into the season. I'm ready. And I'll give you one of these on my way out. Let's go Flyers!
Nick, I love it. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting an EAGLES or a big truck horn or something. Maybe with the Let's Go Flyers. That's amazing. I got goosebumps. Now here I am thinking about the orange and black. I got to rewire. You mentioned hockey on me, and then my brain starts to get all happy. Then I just got to think about Jalen in shotgun. Maybe handing the ball off to Saquon, maybe keeping it, maybe running it for 20 yards. Not fast, but just the way he does it with that big body, people trying to tackle him, 3 guys on him. He's still carrying it 3 or 4 yards. Come on, man, that's my quarterback. I can't wait for this team to take the field. Thursday at the Link, you got the Dallas Cowboys, the biggest frauds and losers in history, who are complaining about contracts on the other side, yet we're raising a banner ready to embrace another journey to do it again. It's incredible. Here's what I'll say about the Kevin Patullo thing. With Kevin Patullo, Brian Johnson was the right-hand man and the family friend of Jalen Hurts. With Patullo, this is more of a Nick Sirianni right-hand man thing. And knowing the way Nick Sirianni handles himself, I'm actually very intrigued by these two challenging one another. Because there's a difference when you come in with no ties to Nick Sirianni at all. And you're his offensive coordinator. You work together very professionally. I believe that's what we saw with Kellen Moore. I think there's a lot of respect there, and they made it work. And that was great. Some are afraid that because Patullo is the right-hand man of Sirianni, that they think the same way. They have the same beliefs. They have the same concepts. And in a way, they may. But it's not going to be completely parallel. And they've made that very clear to us when both of them have spoke. And Patullo spoke over the offseason. No one mentioned it because it seemed very polished and it was boring. But that's a good thing. It wasn't chaotic. It wasn't a guy who was clearly overwhelmed by all the microphones and this and that. The dude just sounded like a pro. But I think he's going to be able, knowing Nick Sirianni, knowing what makes him tick, knowing what makes, him go and the way that he goes about his business, that you have someone with an understanding of that where he could push certain buttons, and there's already so much mutual respect there that it's good. You're challenging one another. You'll get them two in a room talking about the offense consistently, challenging one another from a very good baseline due to their knowledge of one another. I like that. Because I'd imagine with Nick Sirianni's personality, you got to figure that out. You got to test it. You got to see it. We already got that process done since they've been working together in the NFL for so long. Let's go to OG Jason. What's up, OG?
What's going, Brodes?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. So I'm going to get to Jalen Hurts real quick. I hear you're a big wrestling fan. Of course, Hulk Hogan passed away.
Yes, rest in peace.
And something like that. But
I know.
Yeah,
you never want to see anybody,
Yeah,
I know. I understand everything prior.
Yeah. But talking about Jalen Hurts, and I'm glad that training camp has started because I'm glad the lists of the summer are over. I don't care if Jalen is ranked first or last or in the middle. I am confident that he is the quarterback that we need to lead this team to victory. I can't guarantee that any quarterbacks that may have been rated above him would lead this team to the Super Bowl the way Jalen can.
I agree. You know what always cracks me up is if you replace Jalen with this same roster and you put player X, Y, and Z there, they're definitely winning a championship. I can't agree with you. I think you could plug, truth be told, I think you could plug Jalen Hurts with the Ravens, with Derrick Henry, and win a championship with that team. I think people diminish Jalen's greatness when they say that. The Bills, the Ravens, they've had plenty of opportunities to win in the AFC, and they failed miserably, and so you're just saying that they won't fail here in Philadelphia? They have championship caliber rosters. They haven't won. I don't know what to tell you.
Jalen may not throw for 4,500 yards or 45 touchdowns, but he gives us, the Philadelphia Eagles, exactly what we need. And a lot of it, and hate to say this, but I know it's been said before, but the culture of the team, by the coach, by the quarterback, I want to stop short of saying that Jalen's a system quarterback, but no other quarterback can fit into our system and succeed the way that Jalen can.
For sure. And I've seen a bunch of stuff, talking about how Jalen Hurts is the system, and that kind of relates to what you're saying, where it's not that he's a system quarterback. It's the system that works for him is very unique to him, and that's why it makes it so controversial every time somebody tries to discuss Jalen and put him in certain categories. Is he's one of one. There isn't anything that you can do to compare him to anybody else because he's that rare of a breed, because he's that special, and it looks different. It's not the same exact style as a traditional 6'5" pocket passer that once dominated the NFL. But once you get over that, and it's very difficult for some to do, you realize that you have someone who is as special as anybody else at the top of their game. And if you don't appreciate it now, guess what? In a few years, you're going to realize that, or whatever, in 15 years, when his career's all said and done, he's got 9 championships, you're going to say, I want the Jalen Hurts experience back.
I'll end with this, Brodes, because I know there's other people. I'm not ready to put money down to say that Jalen's going to be the MVP, but I would be entirely shocked if he doesn't make the Pro Bowl.
I'd be shocked if he doesn't win Super Bowl MVP. Thank you for the call. I'm just saying. Pro Bowl, Super Bowl MVP, 2 of them. At what point would the slander stop? 2 Super Bowls and 2 Super Bowl MVPs? I still think he's got work to do, unfortunately. Not for me. My brain works. But I'm saying for all the others that are having a very difficult time trying to consume this. Would it be 3? I think if he gets 3 Super Bowls.
I think if he gets 2, it stops.
Nope. No. Stop it. You're giving people way too much credit.
No, I genuinely think so.
No, you're wrong. I hate to admit it. It won't be 2. I'm actually at the point where I think if he wins 3, but only 2 Super Bowl MVPs, still criticism. He's got to go 3 for 3 Super Bowl MVPs with his Super Bowl championship for people to stop that. I'm not saying that's right.
When you mean no criticism, do you mean like
he's not top? He's 11th. He's 8th.
I think if he gets to a second Super Bowl, he's guaranteed. You have to put him in top 5. You have to.
Again, you're talking to somebody with brain cells here. I agree with you.
Right.
There's a lot of people who do not see it this way, which is insane. He could get to the Super Bowl this year, win it, win Super Bowl MVP. So back-to-back Super Bowls with back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs. That would be 3 Super Bowl appearances in 4 years, and you'd still get that it's not Jalen. You'd still get it. It's not Jalen. It's the organization. It's not Jalen. Yet the quarterback is the most important position in the sport.
I guess I just have too much trust in people.
Well, that's your problem. Jack, let me explain. How long have you been working here?
Like 3 months.
Okay. All right. We got some work to do.
Yeah.
We got some work
Yeah.
to do. Oh, you're just getting started, my friend. Let's go to Joey from the dump truck. What's up, Joey?
Brodes!
How are we today, my friend?
We're great, my friend. You know what hurts me about this radio station?
What's that?
The Hurts slander kills me. We talk about all these AFC quarterbacks are better than him. Guess what? He beat them all. He beat them all! We talk about he's top 10. Are you kidding me? Find me another quarterback in this league that will do whatever it takes to win. He don't care about his numbers. He don't care if he's going to hand the running back the ball 30 times. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. And we're doubting this guy? That's blasphemy. I'm going to take you to the future real quick. It's Thursday night. Eagles take the field on their own 20-yard line. Jalen hikes the ball. He's back. Parsons comes around the corner. Jalen shakes him out of his cleat. It's A.J. Brown down the sideline. The 30, the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, 5, touchdown! Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Dude, I don't have to say anything.
What a Merrill Reese impression.
Hairs are sticking up. I'm telling you. The hairs on the forearm sticking up. Or you hear the dun, 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 dun. Fly, Eagles, fly. Come on, 60,000. Everyone's drunk as hell, screaming. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I got to hear about Jalen Hurts. Can't do this, can't do that. The hell's the matter with people?
I'm happy we're on the same page about all this.
Well, again, when you're a football guy, you see it.
Yeah.
Everyone pegs me at hockey guy. No. That's, we'll get there another day. Although I am a hockey guy. But when you understand the positional value of Jalen Hurts in the quarterback, you just shake your head sometimes. That's all. And I look to my right because that's where Spike would normally sit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just naturally went there for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it was just magnetic pull, gravity. I don't know what it was.
His aura.
It's something. But it's just unreal.